little close, right? Let's split the middle. There we go. That's better. Hello, what's good, brother? How we doing? To what do we owe this pleasure? I don't know, man. I just felt like streaming. I haven't been able to sit outside all day, and I'm a total bum. I hate being indoors. So I had to wait. DNC chair saying they're going to have Biden's back. This is terrible news. That's what you get when you back the DNC. If I wasn't afraid I'd literally melt, I'd be outside. Dude, I'm fine in like, I think it's probably like, I can look. Let's see. It is currently 88. I was wondering if I could ask for advice on how to deal with someone you suspect is backbiting you. I think someone at work is trying to get me in trouble unjustly. But that's just my take. Yeah, that can be tough, man. I don't know. I find being direct is the best way usually, but I wouldn't like really go anywhere with it until you know that you can prove that it's happening. You know, I mean, if you think they're backbiting you to your boss, you can try and nip it in the bud by just saying like, hey, you know, I've heard people saying that you're saying this shit about me. Like, is there a problem that we can work out? Most people are very non-confrontational. Most people are very willing to like submit themselves and you don't even have to be mean about it. If you don't feel comfortable going to the person that you suspect of backbiting, then you can go to the person you think they're backbiting to. Like if they're talking to your boss or whatever, you can just go like, hey, I've been hearing crazy stuff. People told me so-and-so said that I was sleeping on the job or something, and like I just want to nip that in the bud. I don't want that rumor getting back to this office because I don't do that, you know. I don't think either of those would be a problem. Yeah, I mean, I assumed you were safe, otherwise you'd be asking a cop, not me. Yeah, as far as to deal with it, direct confrontation. Yeah, 4th of July approaches. Poor little Dinor. He was out here and chilling with me, and I was going to show him to you guys because he got his hair cut today. He got his summer cut, so no mustache, no, he's all over. Took his little flag off. He's got a little curly whiptail now. But I I was gonna have him out here, but somebody fucking popped off one of them rockets, and now it's like. He just gets instantly terrified. See, the current hurricane has broken the record by a ton for a storm forming into a hurricane so far out in the ocean. That's not a good thing, is it? Something tells me that's not a good thing. Yeah, as far as that shit goes, though, Merrick, I would say direct confrontation or just don't worry about it. Those would probably be the two best ways to do it. Like, if you're not doing anything shitty, then you don't have to worry about somebody backbiting you about something shitty. You know? Where did the name Dinor come from anyway? So the first show that I was on when I first started my weird internet career was The Drunken Peasants. There was a regular guest on that show named Jim Ass. He was a rich guy and a benefactor of the show, and he was also a little bit fucking crazy. And he drew a picture one time, and it was an awful picture that looked like a mutant dog that a 3-year-old drew with a crayon, and it was labeled Dinor, like it was supposed to be a dinosaur, but he left out the S. And so Dinor became a meme in the community, and then my girlfriend at the time, who I got a dog with, would not hear any other name from me and decided he was going to be named Dinor. I actually begged her, please, let's not name him after an internet meme, please. But, you know, that was his name. I had no say in the matter, or very little say. And now it just fits him. Is Jim Ass actually rich? Rich as the Dickens. Crazy as the fucking shithouse rat. And rich. Yep. So now I've got a Dinor. But to be honest with you, I only really call him Dinor maybe 10% of the time. His name now to me is D or Dirty D or Dirty D from the Salty Sea. Hurricane's name is Beryl, and it's a Cat 1 hurricane. It's north of Guyana right now. That's kind of spooky, you know? Yep, happy 4th of July, everybody. We're starting down the barrel of Peepaw or Poopy Pants, so I'm glad to be an American. Yeah, that was a pretty rough sentence, buddy. There was a couple of pretty egregious errors in that there sentence, Mr. Griggle TV, and it made it very tough. The vibes are chill right now, but I'm telling you, there's a Paul's ego inside of me that would have banned you on principle for that. But that man is not here tonight. What are you talking about today? I don't know. You're drunk and sad. That's okay then. I give you a pass. You shouldn't be drunk and sad at the same time, man. You should drink to be happy, if you can. You see? That's how I feel about it. It's the mission of your channel. Mission? To talk to people from all over the world, because I think it's pretty chill. Just sit outside on my back porch and enjoy nature a little bit here and there. The mission is chill vibes. I did something messed up without thinking about it. Oh yeah? Are you gonna confess something awful to us right now? Because if you are, you could save it. I don't care. There's a general election in the UK next week. My mom is angry that I'm not I'm not going to vote, but neither eligible party represents my best interest, just like in American politics. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're going to take a lot of shit for it, just like I do in American politics, but good on you for standing on fucking principle. At least you've got one. At least you've got a principle you're willing to stand on. You ever notice that people that poo-poo you for having principles never have any of their own? Not real ones. They'll allude to a principle, but when it comes time to act on that principle, they're never at the showdown. Isn't that funny? Is it a patriotic duty to hate people who move to your area? Texans hate Californians coming over. No. I mean, I think that's a lot of hooey. I do. I mean, I think there's Texans probably like gas themselves up about it, but ultimately they don't give a shit. Then you can't complain. I actually think you can't complain because you made a choice, and if things are shitty, it's your fault. You picked the fucking idiot. Why do you get to complain and not me? I didn't fucking do anything to fucking pick him. I never would have. Ever think about it that way? You ever flip the script and try to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you fucking diminish? It can be a world-changing, perspective-changing thing. I'll tell you that, Garb, right now. You voters got us into this mess. I know. Her argument is people died for my right to vote, but they probably didn't imagine this clusterfuck is what they were dying for. Nobody died for your right to vote. That's just a fucking lie they tell you. You know why people died? Money, territory, corporate interest. Nobody died for your fucking right to vote. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what they tell you so that you don't get too sad about them sending young people over to die in a fucking war overseas. Just joined. What's this? I wouldn't ask dumb questions, man. If you just joined, you might want to kick back and figure out what the topic is before you come. Because, like, what do you want me to do, dude? I've been live 13 minutes. You want me to run you through minute by minute? Get you caught up? That sound like a fun stream for anybody but you. The amount of people that think that, like, the internet, like some chat room is like an airport where you got to be like, hey guys, I've arrived. Hey guys, I think I'm going to depart now. It's like, why do you think that? Why do you think that in a chat room of 103 and growing people, anybody gives a fuck that you popped by? Least of all the dude running the fucking show. I'm just wondering. I want to know. Yeah, let's all run back the last 13 minutes because one dude just got here. Complaining and explaining take the same amount of time, no? Yeah, but one of them's way more fun for me. You got any other, dude, Gwomps. Got any other feedback? If you're new here, you should know I love taking feedback from randos. As a 44-year-old man who's never had to rely on the feedback of randos ever once in his life, I love taking feedback from randos. Whining is super fun, dude. Bye. See you later, Gwomps. See you later, Mr. Man. See how that worked? $44 unemployed man. Well, I'm a business owner registered in the state of California as an LLC business owner. And I make enough money to own a house and own a car and everything else. But yeah, I guess I'm unemployed. People are fucking weird, dude. Woof. What's good? Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. What is good? Why don't we show Papa Emeritus to the door? And show Vin the door too. People like to fucking like counter troll when I tell them to not do anything. Then now all of a sudden everybody's showing up and announcing that they just showed up. Yeah. That's one way to burn a fucking side account. People are fucking crazy, dude. You're unemployed because you're not a subordinate, didn't you know? Yeah. You should be smoking weed instead of drinking, but I can't help you with that. That's been your fucking bad decision, homeboy. Oh, I see another one. Another burnt account on one post. In my opinion, for constructive criticisms taken to impress upon the opinion of good Samaritans in society. I don't remember what I was going to say. Bye, Luther. That's one way to burn your fucking whole account on a post. See you next all. Better luck next time. Better luck next time, bringing down the vibe. You don't have to tell them Midnight Goal. They know. 99% of people know not to just like cruise by and... Cool shirt. Thanks. Gotta love Pavement. I know. I didn't think anybody was going to get it. Summer Babe. You a deadhead? No. Actually, really fucking, I'm not trying to hate, but I don't like the Grateful Dead fucking at all. I never have. I think they're whack as fuck. Are they still together? I think there's still a Grateful Dead touring band, but Jerry Garcia's been dead for fucking 30 years. Disco Elysium's a great game. You're gonna enjoy it. Yeah, man, I fucking hate the Dead, bro. I don't like a single song. I think they're whack. This is a Pink Floyd shirt, you know? Like, I like Floyd. Hey, I'm gay. Cool. You're also probably about to be banned. Pretty retarded. But good way to, you know, burn an account. Can you give me a shout out? Yeah, there's 2 bands right in a row. The dummies are here tonight. Greetings Earthlings needs to go too. That's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's like a test, bro. Too stupid. Too stupid to talk. I've been feeling video games lately, which is weird for me. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I feel like I've kind of burnt myself on video games for a little bit. Just one of those nights. Just one of those nights. Just one of those fantastical flights. A trip to the moon on gossamer wings. Just one of those things. Any favorite fighting games growing up? Yeah, dude, I had a bunch. I mean, I like Street Fighter 2, and that came in like Turbo, and then Hyper, and then Champion, and Turbo Hyper Champion flavors. Those were all good. I liked Killer Instinct. I liked Samurai Showdown 1 and 2 a whole lot. I played those fucking endlessly back in the fucking day. Constantly playing Sam Show. Yeah. Those are probably my... I liked Mortal Kombat as well. Hello, baby. How are you?
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Or did them all come out?
Yeah, I've been popping off fireworks already. I looked it up, and the place that we're living in doesn't allow fireworks displays at all because it's in a state park and a fire zone. So that's kind of nice. They do an offshore fireworks display every year.
Like this off a boat?
Yep. Did you see Vosh's big Ukraine debate? I did not. Thought Vosh wasn't debating anybody anymore. Thought he was in the Fortress arc because he was afraid somebody was going to bring up lolly horse porn. So he had to build a fortress to protect his lolly. Like a true emperor, he had to build a fortress to protect his horses and his lollies. Greetings! Greetings! Vosh says nay to debates. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I'll have to see what's what. What's the etiquette as far as how long we should wait before reposting a comment that wasn't acknowledged? I mean, just don't be crazy about it. You can go ahead, though. I mean, it moves pretty fast. I'm sorry. I try to catch the ones that I think are worth reading, and sometimes I'll miss a few. He's shifting his Ukraine stance again. Compare his new debate to the one that you and TJ had with him, and you'll see. Great. Well, that's the thing, is like, you know, there's a mutability when you don't have any actual principles. So you can soften your stance. You can pretend you always believed one way. It's very, very easy when you don't have any actual principles behind the things that you say. You don't stand on anything like no war, no bourgeoisie war at all, no proletariat lives for bourgeoisie war anywhere in the world. If you don't have a principle like that, then whatever you say today is the truth, man. Same thing. You can just vote Biden till he dribbles and drools, and like he could have a stroke tomorrow and they could just hook his brain up and say they've got him on a yes-no switch. You know? He can say yes or no. He can wiggle his finger. He can do it. You know? Just allows you to fucking change endlessly whatever standards you never put forth. Free Palestine, yeah. Do it. It's going to be like 111 in Fresno this week. I'm going to San Francisco. Good luck. Have fun in the traffic. If only we knew, Paul. If only we'd been warned by a pot-smoking hippie years ago. I know. If only there was some guy that we'd interacted with multiple times that tried to tell us. Oh well. You live, you learn. I was too young to remember, but wasn't Reagan as senile as Biden? Yes. Towards the end, Nancy Reagan was basically running the White House office. But remember, the 24-hour news cycle had not yet begun, and the White House had wide latitude over the president's public appearances, and he just didn't appear in front of the camera. They didn't let him do anything. And Nancy was helping him, like interpreting what he would do if this, that, or the other thing, and he just was gone. Yeah. No, Reagan was as bad as Biden towards the end. You don't know about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan went full-blown senile in the last, like, 6 months of his presidency, I think. What's your spirituality? Well, nominally Zen Buddhist. I'm a new practitioner of Zazen. Paul is right about the camera thing. Now with the internet and mass media, the exposure to Biden is way more. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, towards the end, yeah. The last 6 months of his presidency, he barely saw him. It was very, very media controlled. Very well known that Nancy Reagan was running the Oval Office. He was in a bad way. There was some sort of clip, I think you're right, Griggle, of him not knowing that he was the president. Or him not seeming to be confused by somebody calling him Mr. President.
Snopes is calling it unproven.
I mean, there was never any confirmation from his camp that he had fucking horrible dementia, but it was pretty well known. That is the cutest, sweetest, craziest, insanest fucking shit. Oh my god, Dinor. Dinor got his fucking haircut, like I said, right? And homeboy is scared because there's fireworks going off. And we got him this lick mat because he's like a compulsive licker. Just like lick blankets, lick his little toy, lick himself, lick you if you let him. So we got him this lick mat that you can spread out things and it gives him something to lick on, and he likes it because it's, you know, you put some peanut butter on it, and dude, he looked at me with this look on his face that I can only describe as pure insanity. And Amelia said the truth. She said, the world is peanut butter right now, Paul. And I was like, oh my God. The look on his face was like pure ecstasy. His tongue was like, he has a huge tongue. So his tongue was like, bleh. He's like licking his lips, and he's got these huge bug eyes now, and he's like, he looks at me, and now he won't even look up. Like, I called his name like 10 times, and the world is literally peanut butter. He's retarded, but I love him. It's crazy though. And he just looks like, you'll see, when he's comfortable coming out here in the day, you guys will see. He looks insane when his hair is cut, when we get his summer cut done. Because like you're so used to seeing him all fuzzy and floofy, and you know, it gives him eyebrows.
Mustache.
Dude, now he is literally like, you see the eyes, bro, and they're just blown open. You can see they're seeing beyond you, through you and within you and into the dimension outside of you. He is seeing shit. He has seen some shit, and he is seeing shit all the time. Dinor is crazy. That's the one thing I always can't really impress upon people. They have to learn it for themselves. He is almost self-destructively insane. Sometimes. But, whatever. That's what they do. That's what the peanut butter does to a motherfucker. Yeah, it just gets you fucking jacked up. Just on peanut butter planet. The 5 million mile Dinor stare, yeah. He was fucking waxed out, bro. My pet lizard is a crazy ass too. Oh man. I only had one Liz. It was Iggy the iguana. He was 8 feet from nose to tail, almost 9 foot from nose to the tip of his tail. He was a huge iguana, big bull iguana. And Iggy was certifiably fucking nuts. You learn a lot about animals when you own them, you know. And Iggy was like super reactive to women's periods, like whatever, like musk or like pheromone, I guess, a woman is putting off when she's having her monthlies. It would drive him fucking blood crazy. Kill crazy. He wanted to bite, he wanted to fight, he wanted to whip with his tail. And so only like the men in the house could feed him when the girls in the house were on their periods. And any number of other fucking weird anecdotal things we had to learn to have an iguana that size. Hey man, are you into doom stoner rock? I don't know, I'd have to hear some of it, man. The genres and shit have gone way beyond me, man. Grunge was a tough leap for me, alright? I accepted grunge was different from rock. You know, and punk was different from rock. But, the further stratification that's happened within those parameters, I don't keep up with. Like, what are some bands that would be doom or stoner rock? Like, Weezer? Weezer was stoner rock back in the day. Would that be one? If so, I like the Blue Album and Pinkerton, okay. Sleep is a stoner doom band. Electric Wizard. sleep. Clutch. I do like Clutch. Their first album up through like Elephant Riders, I think is really good shit. So if they're doom stoner rock or whatever, then Clutch is the one. That's that first self-titled album, Clutch. Clutch. That's what it's called. Has Galaxy 500 or whatever it is, Dodge Swinger. Has Escape from the Prison Planet. Has Rock and Roll Outlaw. Just some good ass shit, bro. Getting existential. Is this real? Whoa. What are you talking about? And existentialism can be either tedious or interesting, depending on the conversation. If you're just going to talk about, how do we know this is real? It's going to be a real boring conversation, man. Because I'm just going to say some wild shit like we don't. And there's no way for us to prove it is or isn't, so there's no reason to think about it. And then you're not going to know what to say. I mean, existentialism is very interesting, but it has to be explored on a deeper level to be interesting. Just like I understand the Matrix introduced an entire generation or two of people to existentialism and stuff, and that's cool. But is this real? Is not real fucking deep. Like everything is an illusion, man, is like kind of like my first stoner thought when I was 13, you know? Smoked my first bowl and got couch locked in and was watching my friend make a bowl of ramen for me. And I just thought, am I dreaming this? Was I dreaming before? Yeah, Plato's Cave, which I always have trouble reciting Plato's Cave. Not reciting it word for word, but reciting the premise of it. There are people in a cave. There's a shadow puppet show going on in front of them, and they're tied up and forced to watch that. And they think that the entire universe is the shadow puppet universe. But then one of them escapes and goes to the mouth of the cave and realizes that his entire life is different, but then when he goes back into the cave to try to explain to the other people, they all call him crazy. Because all they know is the shadow puppets. And so it's the idea that we only feel like we're living in reality because it's a complex simulation, or because the idea of reality itself is so fundamentally flawed that our tiny little fucking rodent brains can't come up with any reason why. And we are in the Matrix, yes. Cheers. I remember toying with the ideas of solipsism when I was really, really young. It's interesting to consider, but overall I think it's pointless in and of itself. Also a bit irresponsible in my opinion, maybe. I only met one true solipsist in my life. His name was Alex. He was a Jewish kid that I went to fucking art school with. He had a glass eye, and he believed that everybody in the world was a kind of puppet that was there to serve his interest, and that as soon as they left his sphere of influence, they ceased to exist. And I really thought he was trolling. But over several long conversations with the dude over the course of 3 months, I came to believe he was telling the truth. Picking his brain was it was like really like it was fascinating, but it was also like really it would make me angry. Because I would say something like, okay, so what if I told you, right? Something that happened over there. Like, what if you told me to go take a piece of chalk and write a letter on the sidewalk outside of your influence? And what if I was able to lead you there and show you that I had indeed written exactly what you told me? He would say, that was set up ahead of time, and you're not allowed to tell me. He said, I really don't know how it is for you. He said, I don't know if you know that you cease to exist when you're around me, or if you're not in on it. But either way, you're either a liar or you are unaware that you're a liar. You know, you were given the correct memory of you painting this thing on the sidewalk I told you to paint, and it was always meant for me to see it. So of course you led me to it, and I'm supposed to believe that makes you real. And I would go like, dude, you're fucking wild. You're a wild man, Alex. But that's what he believed. You know? But he taught me the word solipsism. I learned it when I guess I was 15. It's kind of creepy when you think of it, the fact that he would actually believe that. See, here's the thing. When it comes to this kid, he was really well adjusted. He wasn't like some kind of psychopath. Because I asked him all this shit, right? I was like, okay, so nothing's real. Why don't you just slit my throat? I mean, like, whatever, right? The consequences can't be real. And he was like, no, that's just the thing. He's like, I don't get to be an asshole to everybody just because I know that they're not real. Because the consequences to me of what you can do when you're in my sphere of influence are very real. You can hurt me, obviously. You could kill me. You could take me prisoner. And he was like, and it's my choice to choose that path or not. And I would never make any kind of cognizant choice that would put me at the mercy of an illusion. I was definitely like ill-equipped at that time to have that deep of a philosophical conversation, I think. But I can't think of anything even to this day that I could say to convince somebody against that. I think that's why solipsism is interesting. So I would say there's maybe a 75% chance that Alex was just a really smart guy and he liked the philosophical cat and mouse game of solipsism, and a 25% chance that he actually believed that shit. That's how I would lay it out. But of course, he would tell you it's 100% true. That's a really interesting view. I think so. Yeah. How about just being sad, crazy, just having an existential crisis? I mean, I can't tell you he wasn't having some sort of a crisis or that he wasn't mentally ill, but I can tell you that I spent a good 3 months around this kid. Well, not quite 3 months, 2.5 months around this kid every day. He was my scene partner for the final scene for my art school, which was the end of year graduation requirements 2-man scene that you had to do. So he and I we were like tied together. We went to all the same classes and shit. And we spent every kind of fucking second together that we could, pretty much. And I really think that during that time we got a good idea of who each other were. And I didn't detect any kind of deep sadness in him that wasn't present in me. I mean, yeah, we were both teenagers, both a little angsty, maybe a little depressed, right? Both a little like philosophically and artistically gifted. Hence being at a fucking nice art school in the summer when everybody else was fucking off. You know? But I didn't get anything off of him like he was having a real break with reality or whatever. You know, because that's the thing. I would ask him that type of thing. So I was like, so you're the king because you're the center of everything. He said, I'm not the king of anything. He said, now I could become king possibly through a series of choices, luck, and skill and all of that, maybe. But he said, I'm not the king of anything. He He said, as far as I know, I am the only speck of consciousness that exists. And whatever is happening to me here is happening at the behest of God. And I'm here to experience it. And I have to interact with it in good faith. I have to interact with it in a way that would befit a godly man. He was a believer in Judaism, but he was also an atheist, because he said he'd seen no reason to believe that it was a God that had created his situation. He said it was equally as likely that he was just the beginning of what the universe is, and that after he dies, someone else will be born to experience that universe. Seems very inconsistent. I know. I'm glad I don't hold that position. But it was an interesting time that I got to spend with a kid that I, probably never would have been friends with otherwise. He said that Judaism is what his parents raised him into, so clearly that's what the simulation expected of him. And I said, well, what if the simulation, or whatever you're calling this, is God, and God wants you to be a religious Jew? And he said, then I'm a religious Jew. And I said, well, you just told me you're an atheist. He said, it doesn't matter what I tell you. I am what I am. And I was like, wow. I don't know how I feel about that, man. I know some solipsists that think the universe is like a path to their greater consciousness requires. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know that he had that deep of a fucking theology about it. He was very much just, I'm here to experience, and you are part of that experiential, evolution. And what you say is what you had to say, and you wouldn't know any better anyway. And of course you don't know you disappear when you leave my field of view. If you did, you would be evil. You would be part of this, like, a horrible machine. And maybe that's true. Maybe you're just a blatant liar. But he says, I choose to think that you are given false memories about time spent outside of my influence. You're there because you need to be there. I don't know, man. Wacky guy, but really interesting dude. A lot of time I'd use the argument of faith and what does the person feel in the heart? Where does your heart lie? I don't know, man. Are you happy? Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I don't think I'm as happy as I could be, but I don't think anybody's ever as happy as they could be. I'm a work in progress, but I feel like I'm making progress, and that's a good thing. It feels nice. I feel like I'm learning about myself. I had a solipsism belief in my younger years after learning about it more from Vsauce. I see. Yeah. Well, I learned about it from Alex the Jew. Maybe he was right. Maybe I'm just cooking because I'm going to bump into Alex at some point in the future. So all this is false, this false existence here. Because one day Alex is going to see me walking down the street and say, Paul, and I'm going to say, Alex the Jew. Oh, it's so weird to be real again after all these years. Solipsism could be a type of hell. Maybe. I think we delved into that. I said, what if you're being punished because of this? Because it seems like nothing being real. Like, what if a woman loves you? Is that fake? He said, yeah. Was it fake for you? No. I can love her despite knowing that she's not there. You know, love is a concept. It's not a physical thing. Can't be measured. I said, okay. But what if you're being punished? You know, I feel like that knowing that you can't say for sure. You know, what if you're being punished? He said, what if I am? So what does that change about the reality of the situation? It's either punishment or it's my existence, or maybe I just am existence. Like maybe I am consciousness. Like maybe I'm the God. What do you think about that? I was like, you know, I don't know, maybe. I hope not, kinda. What's your secret to happiness? Experience. Knowing yourself. I've spent probably more time than the average person looking inward, and I've never found regression looking inward. I always feel like I know more about my outward world by knowing more about my inward world. I was just using an expression for the conversation towards my buddy. Sorry. No, it's all good. I just don't know the answer to the question. I think the only convincing would need to come from within. If that's the case, do you think psychedelics could alter their mind and change their world? Yeah. Well, I only say yeah because psychedelics changed my mind, altered my mind forever and for always, changed my worldview forever and for always. I have had experiences deep in psychedelia that I don't require explanation for, and I can't properly explain to other people other than by giving some kind of like half-assed trip report. But pretty much every time I've done psychedelics, with a few exceptions, I've had a profound experience that I carry into my life. Even if I don't know it. Oftentimes I don't know it. The last time I really tripped mushrooms good, it was water being the universal solvent. The idea of a universal solvent. The idea that water and everything is, it's like entropy. It was like entropy coming into focus. Everything is slowly whittled away and diluted. Honestly, I took a slice of that Mandarin skeet splitter. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here, buddy. Taylor was on one, you know. I don't know what to say about him. He gotta go, though.
See how that timer is doing post-liquoring.
Oh, boy. He might still be liquoring away.
No, y'all done.
Oh, he done. He finished. I've had profound dreams that make me question my reality. I once woke up scared I was being locked away from the true reality. Oh, shit, homeboy. Don't blow everybody's mind out their asshole just yet. I mean, we've still got, you know, an hour left or more of streaming here that we've got to get through. Do you have a job? Yeah, I'm a business owner. I have owned my own business for quite a while. I mean, people are just getting banned for asking me if I have a job. I really do think that sometimes, like, people wonder. It's like a foreign concept to a lot of people locked into the kind of 9 to 5 that you could own your own business and do what you want for a living. And that's kind of sad. But the reason I get to do what I want for a living comes down to me making the right connections at the right time. I was here at the very, very fucking beginning of YouTube. in the vlogging community, or what we call podcasting now, right? And I've been doing that since 2007. And I've been doing it for a living since 2015. Exclusively for a living, right? I don't work a second job. I don't have a side gig or anything like that. Do you have a job question? Always sounds like a backhanded diss. It is, but I think it's a diffusable one, you know, to me. Like, because the answer is yeah, I actually have a really good job. What was your favorite job you had before doing what you do now? You're gonna call me fucking crazy, but I worked for Starbucks for 8 years, and that was a pretty fucking overall chill job. I remember really hating that job sometimes, but I'm telling you, dude, I got to fucking meme for a living over there, because, like, people that worked there were all college kids, same age as me, and it was cool. That was honestly a pretty fucking chill job, as jobs go. I also thought it was pretty chill when I was 16, 17. I worked at Blockbuster. And my best friend was the assistant manager at Blockbuster. So that was, I mean, the memes were dreams, right? I smoked weed on, he pissed me off one night because he was like, hey, dude, I signed you up to be my second for 4th of July. And I was like, dude, fuck you. I'm calling in sick. He was like, then you're fired. I was like, oh. But it ended up being the chillest fucking night ever. We sat out in the fucking parking lot because we closed at like 8. And nobody was coming into Blockbuster in fucking the middle of the fireworks. So we sat out in the parking lot and just smoked weed all night. So it ended up being a pretty chill 4th. All right, buddy. Peace out. What should I do? I don't know, buddy. Bro, I pilot this body and this body alone, so I can't help you with yours. I barely got mine held together, you know. I'm working on it, man. Don't you just love memories like that? Yeah. Well, I just love memories in general. Memories are like free movie night for me. I'll get lost in that shit sometimes because I got that wild fucking overactive visual imagination. I'll just like, in the middle of like, just like chilling, and people will catch me staring off into the middle distance like that, just like, they're like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I was just thinking about something. What you should do is for you to know, and it might take you years to find out. I mean, it took me till I was 35 years old to even get close to what I wanted to do. And I lived a pretty rough life up until that point. You know, it was not easy. I had to fucking hustle and scramble. I was raised Christian. I'm not a Christian now. I'm a Zen Buddhist. Recent adopter of Zazen. So don't be asking me a lot of questions. I'm figuring it out for myself, as one has to in Zazen practice. We love the beard. Good. I'm glad we do. Senator, love the suit. You know, you have an RV dream, but what place do you want to visit the most? Bro, there's one place in my life that calls my name louder and clearer than any other place. And I've already visited there 10,000 million fucking times in my life. I basically grew up there half the time. It's Pismo Beach, California, bro. My family stayed steady on vacation in Pismo since I was a baby. And ever since then, once a year at the very fucking least, there's been a few years of my life I haven't made it, but I gotta tell you, that's just the best place on the planet to me. Your name is super dope. Thanks. Why is it a nice beach? It's the most beautiful beach in the world. It's like 22 miles of uninterrupted beach. It's a cove. It's like a crescent cove, so you can see it for miles and miles and miles. It's beautiful. Beautiful yellow sand beach. Why is it so special? Do you have a special place, Vidalia, that like when you were a kid, that you just felt like it was magic? What's the beach called? It's called Pismo Beach or Grover Beach. It's actually both. The full beach is called Grover Beach, but the little town is called Pismo Beach. Rhode Island beaches was that for me. Groiper Beach. Grover. Not Groiper, dude. You're a sad apustaya. You're a sad apustaya, and I'm the great Groiper. Pismo or Grover, either one. Pismo is P-I-S-M-O. Pismo. It's a Spanish word for clam. And Grover is just some dude's name that probably fucking owned the beach at some point. I don't know. Pismo. P-I-S-M-O. Beach in Montauk. Yeah. Clam Beach. And it's called that for a reason. Fresh clams every fucking morning, harvested off that beach, made into chowder that will blow your fucking dick right out of your ball sack, dude. Everybody's got that place, or most people do. What caused you to adopt Zen, if you don't mind explaining? I find the ability to quiet my mind to be incredibly helpful to me in dealing with my fucked up mind. And meditation, I haven't practiced Zazen for long, but meditation I've practiced for over 20 years. I have wanderlust as well. Paul wants to take back his power. Hello, friend. Well, I practice mindfulness meditation. I just recently adopted Zazen practice, and I really love it so far. It's, you know, I've felt called to like ritual or religious practice for a very long time. I am an atheist still as a Buddhist. But I find the more I learn about Zazen and the better I get at practicing it in my own way, the better I feel about myself. Like your vibe's gonna sub. Cool. Thanks, buddy. I like your vibes too. Hog wings. Modern psychology takes a lot from Zen, or rather Zen said it first. That can be true, yeah. craziest Zen experience. So my journey towards Zen started with a mushroom trip that went real kind of, it wasn't, I won't say it went bad, but it went heavy. And I started feeling like, man, I shouldn't have taken that fucking dose of mushrooms. And Amelia was here, but she wasn't up with me. And so I was just kind of not panicking, but having a fucking rough trip. And I had to like cry it out a little bit. And then I went to my phone and I typed in the word Zen. Just because, I associated that word with peace and calm and meditation. I knew nothing about it. And one of the first videos that I saw were 101 Zen koans. I had no idea what this was. I hit it, I hit the fucking thing, and I put it up to my ear, and I closed my eyes, and I had the most intense fucking visual, like closed eye visuals, right? And these Zen koans fucking were like melting into that. Well, atheist and agnostic, right? I'm an agnostic atheist. People don't understand this. I know it sounds tedious. I don't believe in a God, but I cannot prove whether a God exists or not. So I remain agnostic on his existence, right? Or its existence. But when it comes to my belief and knowledge are two different things. Sometimes they get, right, mixed. But belief, knowledge, precludes belief. If you have knowledge, then you don't need belief, right? Yeah, that contradicts itself. How? So, agnostic. Gnosticism deals with knowledge, right? That's the root word. So, agnostic means I can't know one way or the other whether God exists. So I remain neutral on his existence. Atheist means, yeah, I can't prove it. I can't look under every rock in the fucking universe. I can't examine every molecule to see if God's hiding in there. But I live my life assuming that God doesn't exist, and I see no reason to put my belief in God. Right? So belief and knowledge, two different things. I did CBT a few years later. I studied religion. There's a lot of stuff is the same, especially in Buddhism. Well, like Buddhism is like, I described it earlier as a monodualistic religion. It's like there is not one, there is not two, there is one and two. It's monodualism. Everything is one, right? I know that sounds like trite, but science backs it, right? We're made of the same shit that's burning in the heart of our star right now, reflecting off the face of our moon right now. We're made of those same elements. There's nothing in the universe that we're not made of. We are made of that very base element, right? So all is one, but all is itself as well. It's like mind and body is why Zazen has this kind of monodualism, right? Mind and body are one thing, but a mind is its own thing, and the body is its own thing. But they are interdependent systems. They can't be extricated from themselves. What happens to your mind happens to your body, and what happens to your body happens to your mind. This is why practitioners of Zazen use breathing as their focal point. Breathing is the absolute core of Zazen. It's also the core of mindfulness meditation. We focus on breathing because it's the act of bringing the outside world into the inner world and then pushing the inner world back into the outside world, right? And once you get into the rhythm of just focusing your mind on that breathing and you allow those kind of passing thoughts to come, you acknowledge them and you let them go and you focus on your Zazen. You will find yourself melting into a kind of peacefulness, right? And that peacefulness comes from the knowledge that you are one with the world. As a Christian, I respect that ideology. Got to respect all beliefs. We don't have to prove each other wrong and stuff. You do you. I feel the same way about you, man. I really don't have a problem with Christians like yourself that hear another man's beliefs out and don't feel the need to tell them they're going to hell, or that I do tend to not like it a lot when Christians come and try and change my mind. But that comes from, a lot of that's just me being kind of defensive because I was raised Christian and I know a lot about Christianity. I've read the Bible cover to cover multiple times. I know Jesus. And I think a lot of Christians misquote that man and misapply his teachings and forget, conveniently, some of his teachings as well, like it being easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom, etc., etc. I think people like to cherry pick that man, but I think his whole message needs to be listened to. I didn't know that about Zen. I thought Hinduism was all is one and Buddhism is all is illusion. No. Well, I mean, there are different flavors of Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism, and there are Hindu adjacent Buddhisms that are practiced in India. Zazen is practiced primarily in China and Japan, or at least it has its origin in China and Japan. What should you say to someone who thinks you can give them a what? What should you say to something who thinks you can give them a special message? I don't know what you're asking, bud. Hey, Paul, do you ever get stuck in a conversation with someone who doesn't know how to end, what to end a conversation? How would you end? Dude, I'm a very direct guy, man. I'll just tell people, well, I gotta go. Nice talking to you. I gotta go. And I'll just go. I don't let people lock me up and shit I don't want to do. I don't support any of these aggressive Christians who try and save one's view. I respect Muslims, Buddhists, even Satanists. I respect them. Love to everybody. Well, I mean, that's Jesus coming out of you then. By your fruits shall they know you. And that is what Jesus would have done. Jesus would have been out amongst what he saw as sinners. He said to give all of your money to the poor and to follow in his footsteps, and that he'll take care of you. If you're trying to do that as a Christian, you're all right by me, man. Gotta set your boundaries with talkers so they just eat your time. Yeah, I mean, you gotta set your boundaries with everybody, man. Life is healthy boundaries, man. And the only thing that shouldn't have boundaries is your mind. Your mind should be boundless. But your life should be run with healthy and well-established boundaries. Do you even lift, bro? Dude, I lift my fat ass, bro. I lift way more than you do. I'm carrying over 300 pounds of blubber around everywhere I go, bro. I lift hella. In the Bible, there's a warning at the end of Revelation stating those who twist the word for agenda, power, wealth are in deep trouble when Jesus returns. Yeah, I know. A lot of Christians don't know their Bible, man. A lot of Christians don't know that if Jesus does come back, let's say he does, his first stop gonna be the church. And he's gonna make everybody who worked iniquity in his name answer for their fucking crimes. And he will turn their backs on them when he says, but I did. When they say, but Lord, I didn't know, he will say, get thee hence from me. I turned my back on you because I never knew ye. People don't know that shit, bro. They go around judging people. Revelation is a book Christians love to cherry pick. Oh, yeah. They love to cherry pick that whole book. The Bible is a book that Christians love to cherry pick. I'm not saying all Christians, a lot of Christians do. I got mad respect for people that know the Bible well enough to know that Jesus wouldn't care who believed what. Jesus was about loving people. And if you don't take that from the fucking New Testament, then you didn't read the Bible. You can have church from home, yeah. They don't want you to know that. The power of Christ is not in the vestments of your holy men and the walls of your church. It is within you. I read that one book they made the Nick Cage Left Behind. Yeah, I've seen the movie. I haven't read the book, no. But I did watch the movie. That movie is goofy as fuck. If the book is anything like the movie, the book is goofy as fuck too. But whatever, people like different shit. You stayed up late. It's 10 p.m. on a Saturday. Can we get real? Is that late where you're from? I'm in California, by the way. Thoughts on the Dune movies? Loved them. Loved the old Lynch movie from 1986 or 84. I think it's 84. I don't know. Loved the David Lynch movie, still do, and I love the new Denis Villeneuve movies. They're great. 10 p.m. and a brisk 106 here in Phoenix. Ooh, you might want to take a sweater with you if you're planning on going out. The Great Lebowski. Whoa. That's a fucking fat joke, outlaw Josie Wales. They denounce the Old Testament, but they love Leviticus. Oh, yeah. But they don't like all of Leviticus, though. Still have to watch the old Dune movie, though. Oh, you haven't seen the old one yet? Hog Wings, bro. You gotta watch that old David Lynch Dune, man. There's something special going on with that one. I watched Eraserhead for the first time yesterday. All I can say is, what the fuck? Dun 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 dun. I do like the David Lynch one a little better, I'll be honest with you, but I'm just kind of an old head about things. I think it's cool, but I like the new ones too. I think the new ones are cool too. New ones definitely go more in depth in things. You get to see a little bit more modern stuff. Had some really fucking cool shit in it, man. I really want to try and catch that movie again in IMAX someday. I think they'll do a re-release of it, like before Dune, because the next one's going to be Dune Messiah. And they're already making that, so I think when that one's about to come out, they're gonna drop that one back and I'm gonna go. The way the Lynch movie depicted the guild helmsman was so good. I know. Well, I mean, honestly, both of the movies can claim that. The Lynch one is closer to the books in some ways. The Villeneuve one is closer to the books in some ways. Didn't David Lynch hate his Dune movie? Yeah, he felt very constrained. Like he was not given like the creative freedom he wanted. And that he definitely gets now as a more respected auteur, and he looks at it as a mistake for him to give over his creative freedom to make the movie, even though the creative freedom that he was allowed are what makes the movie very great in the eyes of the people that love it. But he felt stifled creatively on the film. He felt like he wasn't able to kind of run with it in the way that he wanted. He felt like there was too much like studio control, and he signed over too much of that control. And as a result, he doesn't like the film. The golden age of movies is now, my friends, and you just don't know it. I'll tell you why. Joe Bob Briggs said this, and it's never been more true. I saw him say this on a podcast of his like 4 years ago. He said, there's never been a better time to be a movie maker and be alive. He said, it is easier and cheaper now for you to go get a good camera, rent a little set, write a little script, and hire a couple of fucking local actors and make a film. And it's never been this easy in the history of filmmaking, and it may never be again. He said this is the golden age of film because it's the most accessible that the art form has ever been. And so when you start looking at life that way, you stop being a boomer. You know? Same thing with music, man. A lot of people say, oh, music sucks now. It's just like, no, there's just more of it. There's more shitty music and there's more good music. It's just, you know, yeah. I mean, they used to be way more of a filter on the music you got to hear. And that made a lot of music like pretty high quality. And now we live at a time where you can get FL Studio and just fucking make your own album. Right? People are doing that every fucking day, and some of them are blowing up huge. That's so exciting, right? There's beautiful films being made every single fucking day and going right under your radar, man. I'm telling you, as a horror fan especially, like, I know that I'm a little partial to horror as a genre. It's my bread and butter. I love movies of all genres, but horror is my home genre, and I gotta tell you, it's an exciting time to be a horror fan, man. Really exciting. A lot of indie horror films. A24, Ari Aster is a mind that's just really committed to making really great horror. And there's tons of indie horror, and like, yeah, Guy said here, amazing like horror content on YouTube. Like, it's just a really exciting time to be a film buff, bro. And a music lover too, honestly. It's the same with programming modern game engines, making very accessible. Yeah. Video games, the same thing, right? If you love video games, there's never been easier. There's never been more tools available to truncate some of the fucking like busy work and tough shit of programming, right? Than there are right now. You can make a fucking cool ass game right now. Yeah, zombie movies, fucking, I'm just a horror buff, dude. I'm a horror aficionado. My life was fucking ruined when I was 6 years old and my parents plopped me down in front of the TV with a bunch of tapes, and I knew how to do the tape thing, so I popped in Night of the Living Dead, the 1968 George Romero classic, and it changed my whole fucking outlook on life. It scared the shit out of me. My parents were fucking freaked out because I was having nightmares every night, and usually I was a really easy kid. But as soon as I could, I snuck back in there as soon as they weren't watching me, and I popped that motherfucker in and I watched it again. And I got scared again. And my life was changed forever that day. I stopped giving a fuck about cartoons that day, bro. Maybe not that day. I watched cartoons when I was a kid, but I'm telling you, I knew what movies could do from that day. And that ruined me forever, man. I've been chasing that fucking feelings my whole life. I love horror movies. Yeah, it reminds me of like Shotgun the Forever Man. Yeah. If you know, you know. You ever watch any analog or digital horror on YouTube? Yeah, back in the day I watched Marble Hornets. You ever watch that? That series was pretty fun for a while. It got a little goofy towards the middle and end, but I liked it. It was kind of moody. Nosferatu looks good. Robert Eggers is, yeah, I agree. I'm gonna check out that Nosferatu. Return of the Living Dead piqued my interest. Dawn of the Dead cemented my zombie obsession. Yeah, I mean that's true for a lot of people. Yeah, Marble Hornets was a Slender Man thing. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but heard a ton about it. It's worth checking out. It's neat. Yeah, it fell off pretty hard. I agree, Merrick. What's your take on minorities in the suburbs? The more the merrier, man. I've never been a dude like I was raised in a super multicultural area. I was actually raised in a town that is 70% Hispanic and 30% white or other. So, I'm a California guy. I think diversity is part of the strength of the United States, and I love to see people living wherever they want to fucking live. You know. Captain Spaulding scares the hell out of me. I'm 56. Afraid of a clown? I know, dude. Afraid of a clown that just wants to have some fucking tutti frutti. Captain Spaulding would be chill as long as you weren't some dumb college kid. It's embarrassing now, but Jeepers Creepers gave me nightmares as a kid. Why, dude? That movie is legit fucking spooky, dude. The first one? Dude, that movie is crazy good, bro. That's actually a good one. Dude, I was scared to death by so many movies. My parents were so beleaguered in the early days of my horror obsession because they would say, PJ, why do you watch this stuff? You're going to have nightmares. And I would say, because I like it, you know? And so, like, right in the 80s, too, when I was a kid, I was into horror. The 80s were such a great time for horror. There was a TV show that a lot of people don't remember now called Tales from the Dark Side. It presaged a lot of, like, horror-themed, episodic kind of shows. It was definitely like a ripoff of the format of, like, The Outer Limits or The Twilight Zone, right? But it was all horror-themed. And it would come on every Saturday night. I remember, a Friday night. I can't remember which one it was, but every weekend it would come on, and that music, bro. Let me play it for you. Dude, this music and this intro, I'll try and show it to you guys. It's fucking legit spooky, dude. Hold up. Just give me a sec. Because I just want you to imagine you're like 7 years old, right? It's Friday night. Your parents are fucking like chilling outside on the porch having beers. And a commercial for some fucking thing goes off. And then suddenly you hear this, right? Hold up. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to give you guys some volume, and I'm going to full screen this bad boy, and I'm going to try and the visuals are cool, but like it's the sound and the voice. Okay, you guys tune in. All right, so here it is. It is 1987. You're 7 years old. You're wearing Hobie board shorts and a sleeveless t-shirt. It's a fucking balmy summer night, dude. Your parents are out on the fucking back porch having beers. And you and your little sister are sitting in the living room, right? A commercial stops, and then this comes on.
Man lives in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
Bro. Bro. Bro, you don't even know. Siri, play Burning Spear.
Burning Spear now playing.
So my young mind was poisoned, man. I didn't have a chance, bro. I was a horror fan for life. Watched Annabelle when I was younger, and my grandma had a house full of porcelain dolls and cases, and from that moment, I always felt like they were watching me. Yeah, I know. Horror will do that to you, man. Horror changes the world. I've seen VHS, yeah. You seen Wreck? REC? I know. Wreck is better. Yeah, it's a Spanish film. I have seen Quarantine, yes. Did you hear about the Supreme Court decision regarding outdoor camping law? I happened upon a Guardian article, and after reading it, the outcome seems pretty fucked. It's always fucked for homeless people. The people that have the least amount of ability to fight back or protect themselves against it always get the shit fuck end of the stick. This is America. I think Wreck is better than Quarantine. I agree with that. The Wreck, yeah, I didn't really stick with the series that long. I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys want another fucking hot take, movie take, bro? I give this one all the time, but people give me shit. Here's another hot take. You ready? Unfriended. Unfriended. That's all I'm gonna say. That movie's legit. People be hating on Unfriended. Unfriended is capital L, legit. The first one. I ain't speaking for Unfriended 2, the dark web. That was dog shit. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just saying you need to watch Unfriended. Yeah, it's not Skype necessarily. It's like Mac OS 10. It is a movie filmed in Mac OS 10, and Skype is used in it, yes. But it's also like iChat and Safari, the browser, and iTunes, and everything else. It's like the whole movie is presented from you. It's like you are a person looking at a laptop screen. Movies about the dark web are so cringe and don't know they don't know. I assume, I don't know anything about the fucking dark web either, but I assume that movies about the dark web don't, you know? But I think that there's a lot of people that are, oh, Talk to Me was great, Joanne. See what I mean? Like, modern horror is fucking alive. Really alive. Movies about the dark, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Unfriended is great. It's old now. I think it came out in like 2014, something like that, 2015, somewhere in there. Funniest part is the person who commented that had onion in their profile name. I don't know what you mean. As Above, So Below was a really good movie as well. I liked that movie. It was pretty claustrophobic, pretty spooky. Do you know about the mineral in your knee that makes your... Oh, you try to get me to say a bad word, boy. But I'm too old. You gotta get up. You gotta get up, dude. Way earlier to get Paul's ego in one of those, bro. Dude, I'm an official fucking trained Ligma master. Okay, boy? I'm a Ligma master, bro. I don't get baited. I don't get switched. Well played. I'm just I'm an old school internet guy, dude. You gotta, like I said, bro. I appreciate it though. Look, you didn't get banned. You tried. You're welcome to chill. How's that? Yeah. Is that up, dog? What's up, dog? Oh no, dog. What's up? Yeah, dude, I'm OG bridge troll, bro. I was trolling before the internet. I tell people this all the time. People don't believe me. I'm not gonna tell the whole ass story, but let's just say I got fucking cited by the FCC when I was like 14 years old for trolling truckers over the CB radio. Spell ICUP. ICUP. You're a fucking sicko. What are you looking at me pee for? What? Why not tell it again for the newbies? I mean, because I don't want to fucking bore all the guys that have heard it 5 fucking times now. I'm not trying to flex. I'm just letting people know. You know, I've been on the internet, dude. I've been trolling. I was trolling that. I started trolling like in real life too on the CB radio with skin in the game because they could find your ass back in the day. I was like 8 or 9 years old, bro. Like 88, 89, way before the public internet. And I was one of the first people in the world to get on that. What state are you in, California? Tell us about your DMT trip. I actually haven't done it. I want to do a DMT trip. I've done a lot of acid and mushrooms. Hey, what kind of specific thing do you want to hear about? I'm always happy to tell a fucking shroom trip report or whatever the fuck, or an acid trip report, but and I don't know what you're looking for. Do you want crazy? Do you want, I don't know, you want fucking profound? Do you want like the wildest fucking double fucking triple hit that I ever took? You know, what do you want? I got it all, man. I've done it. I've done it way 2 times to just generalize. You know, the craziest trip. All right, boy. Bet the craziest trip. So this is kind of a wild trip, so I'm gonna have to set it up. I'm an internet guy, right? And so I was on a show, you maybe not have heard of it, but it was a really big show back in like 2015, 2016, 2017 called The Drunken Peasants. And I was one of the main dudes on the show. And so we had people that would send us some wild shit. Some wild shit. And one of the dudes that we knew that was a fan of our show was a chemist. And he was always saying shit about like, dude, I'm gonna send you guys some crazy fucking hallucinogenics one day. And we were like, all right, dude, whatever. He would send us all kinds of stuff. The guy was rich. So he would send us like, we had a P.O. box. And dude would send us like, he sent me a whole VR headset. He sent me a track IR thing so that when I played fucking Elite Dangerous, I could just like look around the cabin and shit. And he would just buy this shit and send it to us, right? And he was a really generous fucking dude, clearly had a lot of money. And this one time, fucking TJ comes up to TJ, my coworker, the amazing atheist. He comes up to me and he says, dude, so-and-so sent some of that shit he said he was going to send. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? The lab-made shit? And he goes, yeah. He goes, it's called Ganesha. He says it's the wildest acid. And I was like, all right. Well, are we gonna take it or what? He's like, well, I want to do it up in the woods or something, bro. Let's go camping. I was like, sounds good. So we got our girlfriends together. We took some time off of work. We rented a cabin up in Snoqualmie, Washington, and we went way up in the fucking woods, man. And you know, I had a nice cabin or whatever that we rented, and it was fucking. We took this Ganesha shit. And it was just, we divided it up. It was me and TJ took the lion's share, and then the girls each had a hit. And it ended up being like 2 hits for me and TJ, and then a hit for Chelsea, a hit for my girlfriend Ashley at the time. And this is really inadvisable too, but what we ended up doing was there was a hot tub at this cabin we rented. So we all got our bathing suits on and we sat in this hot tub. Now, being in a hot tub, raising your blood pressure with, you know, acid also raises your blood pressure. The heat is not good. You know, I wouldn't say do this, but we weren't like dying in there or anything. It was cold outside, and the hot tub was keeping us warm. And the acid started to come on, and it felt like normal acid at the beginning. But what didn't feel normal about it was there was no slow come up, right? It was like all of a sudden I was peaking, or at least I felt like I was peaking. And it took the form of, I'm looking at the hot tub, and you think about it like a medium-sized hot tub. There's 4 people in it, right? The girls are we're all spread, each person in a corner, kind of, right? I start peaking immediately, and it's like the water in front of me turns into a globe. And I'm part of that globe, and I'm looking around, and I see these, and I'm like a giant, right? So I want you to imagine, there's probably some anime that showed this, right? A giant that's so big that he could like wade waist deep in the ocean and be seen from space, right? Not bigger than the Earth, but so big that like he could use the ocean like a spa. And suddenly it was that, right? I was there in that kind of headspace, right? And I'm on the ocean, and I'm this giant standing there, and I look over and I see my girlfriend, and all of a sudden I get it in my mind that we're at war. We're giants at war for this planet, and the ocean is between us. And so I reached out with my hands, and I put my hands in the ocean, and I pushed it. And I created I didn't splash, I did it slow, but I pushed a lot of water, I went, and it created a wave that like lapped up against Chelsea, TJ's girlfriend. And she looked at me, and I knew she was peeking too. And she was like, why did you do that? And I said, we're at war. And she was like, and she hit a fucking wave back at me, right? And it was like, I was like a giant on the, think about that, like waist deep on the planet, like, a big wave hits me, and I'm like, ugh. And then the other 2 joined in, and TJ's big wave, and it was like we had a water fight in there. But in my mind, it was like, you know what I mean? Like, we were it was fucked, right? So I got off the globe and was like, I'm gonna go rinse myself off and get dressed, man. And everybody kind of fucking got out, right? I went and jumped in the shower real quick, and I just like closed my eyes, and I turned on the water, and it was like the trip was so visually intense with the eyes closed. I was seeing, if you've acid tripped before, but way more intense than I've ever had as a closed eye visual, just like 10 trillion amoebas, like, you know what I mean? Like crawling through one another and creating different shapes. And then you got pareidolia, and there's a face in the shapes, right? All of this with your eyes closed. And I'm just feeling that water. And it was just like I was enraptured, right? I ended up getting out of the shower. I threw on a pair of fucking like sweatpants with no underwear. I threw on a fucking a pullover fucking hoodie with nothing on it under it, and threw on some fucking shoes. And I went out and I made a fire, right? And everybody that was tripping said they remembered I just disappeared out the back door. And I went out, and there was a fire pit there, and I just collected some of the wood from around in the woods, and I made a fucking fire, right? And I burned it to the ground. I burned the fire down looking at it, and I was hooked. As soon as I made the fire, I was like, this is what I was supposed to do tonight. That Ganesha, this is where I have a hard time describing it. It was like the flames were 10,000 feet tall. It was like I was standing in the middle of them, and I could feel the heat, but in a pleasant way, like I was part of it. And I watched that whole big fire I built burn down to embers, and when I looked at the embers winking, the embers became the universe. And once again, I was a giant, but this time on a much grander scale. And I just kind of absent-mindedly like spit into the fire, and my loogie landed on a coal, and it went tss. And I just was like, I am God. I am the god Ganesh. And at the very whim of my mind, an entire universe winks out of existence. TJ came and joined me in the middle of this trip, right? And he goes, "What are you doing, Paul?" I said, "I'm destroying this fucking shitty entropic universe in front of me." I said, "Watch." And I spit on the fire, and he was like, "Whoa." And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "You know what it is, TJ? Because like we were out in the woods, but some kind of plane flew over, and it harshed my mellow bad, right?" And I said, "You know what it is, TJ? The fucking fart of humanity, man. Nowhere you can go, man. How deep in the woods does a motherfucker have to go to not hear the fart of our fucking engines and our gas and our fucking bullshit, man?" Spit on the fire. Tss, another one bites the dust. That was my trip that night, man. It was a wild trip. I ended up writhing on the floor in the living room, listening to Chelsea talk about a lizard that lived on the wall. It was the single fucking most memorable, crazy fucking visual trip I've ever had, bro. And I still to this day have not been able to find out what the fuck that Ganesha shit was. Can you give to me a Fortnite skin? And his name was the Skibbity Slicer, bro. That sounds insane. It was insane, boy. It was fucking crazy, bro. I mean, like, that's what I tell people about psychedelics is like, do it safe. Do it with somebody you trust that's done it before, that isn't gonna fuck with you. But otherwise, you can't really explain to a person what they may or may not experience, you know. But you know what, dude? Thanks for sticking around and being chill after I deflected the troll attempt. That's actually kind of neat to me because typically people just bounce off this play. I mean, you've seen people just getting fucking banned left and right. But you somehow skirted it, man, and that's dope. Have you tried a gargle-on trip? What's a gargle-on? Gargle on these. Right? That's a gargle on trip, right? Took a dab in Colorado and pretty sure it was laced with dust. I was looping so hard. Yeah, I've never done angel dust, so I can't tell you much about it. Trip stories bring the universe together. You got one, man? I know it's hard to tell one in a YouTube comment, but like, have you experimented with psychedelics, young man, young boy? No, I think it's a good thing for people to do, but responsibly and with somebody with experience. It's like something, it's almost shamanic. It needs you need to be led your first couple of times. And then you can decide to do it on your own because you know what you're dealing with. Yeah, here's something that I'll say, okay? I've done acid not 100 times in my life, but well over 50 times in my life. And I've done mushrooms well over 200 times in my life. I've never had a bad trip. I've never had a bad trip one time, ever. I've had heavy trips. I've had lame trips. I've had boring trips. You know, or trips that cause me to go very inward. I've had very visual trips. I've had very scary trips, but I've never had a bad trip. Not once. Bad trip is a state of mind. Bad trip is not being ready for what your mind is going to show you. That's a bad trip. I had an acid trip where I was alone in my apartment for 10 hours straight. Oh, ye? You high as a kite? Not as a kite. But I'm a little high. I took 2 tabs of acid all alone in my old apartment. Never had a bad trip. Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of acid alone after my last girlfriend left me. It ended up being a little wacky, but it was interesting. You know, it was not a bad trip. I did 3 days straight of like take a fat 2-dose California sunshine, like window pane acid, take 2 hits, cook, get to the point where I was not cooking and could sleep fucking hard, wake up, drop two hits. It was like a cycle. I did it 3 days in a row. And that was a little excessive, I think, but it was definitely like illuminating. I got very fixated. All I wanted to do was listen to Go Flex by Post Malone. I got very fixated, man. And now I have to be careful because if that song comes on at the wrong time, I'll have not a full-blown hallucination thing, but like you start feeling that creepy feeling in your spine and the edges of things start to look too real. And you're like, oh, okay, we're going to change that sound. Can't listen to Go Flex anymore. Ruined that. Well, I didn't ruin it. I just have to be chilling somewhere where I don't mind feeling like I'm coming up on acid. Yeah, not for everyone. I can't hang. All good, dude. I would never, ever, like, peer pressure somebody into doing it. I would do acid more often if I could get a hold of it a lot easier. Yeah, me too, probably, but it's just like, it doesn't come across my path very often. It never has. But the times it has, I've always taken up. And there have been times it's come across my possession and I've had quite a bit of it. So it's lasted me quite a few trips before I was dry again, you know. But ultimately, it's about having fun with it and not sitting on it like it's an egg, you know. I don't say trip every day, but, you know, if you got 4 panes of acid or something, what's the problem? Pop one and give your significant other one and go to fucking Planet Zordon together for a while and see what's what. Have you ever had bad weed, like always with something molded? Yeah, dude. The last time I had bad weed, I was in the fucking great state of Louisiana. And we used to get weed that was suspect. You'd be smelling it, and you'd be like, man, this smells musty. This ain't good, man. This wasn't properly dried out, man. That's where you're at. Yeah, I lived in New Orleans. Well, I lived on the north shore of New Orleans. In good old Slidell for about 3 years. And oh, let me tell you, I know about them swamps down there. I've had horrible ego deaths off of just weed. Really? That's actually kind of a superpower, my guy. Dude, I have smoked more weed than the next 10 dudes. And I've never had ego death off of weed. Do you still smoke it, though? What do you think? Do you think I let a little musty smell keep me off of that weed? Do you really think? Just look at me, even if you don't know me. Here I am. I opened a bag of weed and it smells a little musty in there. What do you think? What do you think happened to that weed?
I think we might have to carry poor Dino out to
Aw.
go potty before we go to bed.
Baby boy, he just hates those fucking fireworks. I wish.
And it was just the one, pretty much.
Well, there was a few. There was a Whistling Pete, and then somebody did one of those cracklers that goes. And I know he heard that from in there. So he can hear it when we can't hear it, and I heard it out here, so I was like, oh, here we go. But it's going to get worse. I mean, we're like in the middle of June.
What? No, it's the end, almost the end of June.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's like the 28th or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about time then. They're selling them. It's gonna be every night for about 2 weeks. And July 4th is gonna be a fucking apocalypse this year. I can just tell you. I feel like people are fucking gonna blow it off. It's gonna be Mogadishu in this neighborhood for about 3 days. I got a feeling, bro. It's not gonna be Mogadishu.
I don't know. They might be cracking down with just how bad the fires are this year.
I don't think they're good. They say that every year, dude. They told us last year there was gonna be drones.
Yeah.
They've said that for the last 6 years, that the police got drones and they're taking pictures of people's lawns and shit. And you're gonna get a fucking notice with a $1,000 fine, blah blah. The people don't give a fuck. They're gonna be blowing it off. It's gonna be fucking Black Hawk Down. So we're gonna have to watch some crazy action flicks, you and me.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Dynor doesn't freak out as bad if there's an action flick. Yeah, some little dogs just can't take it, and that's one of the reasons why Dynor's got a fucking GPS on his collar. I can see where Dynor is anywhere on the fucking planet Earth, bro. As long as that collar's on him. But he's not a runner, but, you know, if I let him out here fucking tomorrow and, oh shit, I gotta pee, and I come back out here and a fucking firework went off, he would fucking try and find a way out of the backyard and run from it. So, and Cricket, you know, he's not as perturbed, I don't think, by the fireworks, but I know he probably is in his own little Cricket way. I need to stand up and do my stretches. Do a little bit of yoga and zazen. It takes me about 5 minutes. And don't be sedentary. I'm gonna leave a little music playing. You might hear me grunting and groaning. That's just me stretching. You know, I have a really bad back and I'm a big fat guy. Trying to get thinner. Working on it. Be back in 5. This is a good song. Glad I left you guys with a good song. So, and a great chair, yeah. Can you imagine yourself being in an open relationship? No. Without giving too much detail about myself, let's say I've explored the boundaries of that in a previous relationship and found it wasn't for me. I don't really have any shame in my game about it, but I don't talk for other people. My ex isn't here to correct the record, so. It isn't for everybody, that's for sure. Yeah. I would never like force my living circumstances or whatever it is on anybody else. Like it's your journey, man. You know, you've got to walk in your shoes. I don't. And as long as you're happy and what you're doing involves consenting adults, then I really give a fuck, man. Like, honestly, when I say I don't give a fuck, it's not in that blithe, like, millennial way. It's literally, I don't. I'm not as interested in people's private sexuality as other people are. I do like sexuality as like a topic, psychosexuality, like as a philosophical or psychological topic. I like human sexuality broadly. I find it to be really interesting, but like what a person is into, what they jerk their meat to, what their secret fantasy life is very mundane to me. I feel like most of the world feels the opposite nowadays. I feel like most of the world wants to know what's going on in your bedroom. We have a right to know what you're looking at. You got to be friends with your partner and be secure in your relationship. I would imagine so, yeah. I caught that yellow fever bad, bro. That's not the way we refer to that, though. That's not the way we refer to that, bro. You gotta be friends with your partner and be secure in your relationship. Oh, I already read that. That happens to me a lot. Because sometimes the chat just goes like... And then it goes... People have become far too open about sharing their sex lives. I feel like people don't understand that stuff is private and nobody wants to know. I mean, that's not true. A lot of people want to know. And as far as what's private and what isn't, that really is just between you and your fucking friend group and your partner, right? Like, there are people that, like, they wear that shit on their sleeve, and good on them, you know? I do find it a little off-putting when people, like, lead with their sexual fetish or whatever it is, you know? But a lot of that, I think, roots in the fact that I don't have many of my own. You know, I'm like people when I've had this kind of like personal sexuality talk with people, they've said, "Oh, you're just like kind of vanilla." I'm like, I guess. I don't like a big production about sex, you know. So I'm not real into like heavy BDSM stuff. I like the kind of like dom sub kind of relationship, but from what I've been told by people after talking about it and like hearing what they think about it, I'm a switch. Like, I like to be in control sometimes. I like to be controlled sometimes. And that's about it, man, when it comes to my personal like sexuality and stuff. I guess it's fucking kind of like French vanilla, you know. I think I did that same shit to this song earlier. This song is so fucking good. I know a lot of women who are into choking. I think there's a lot of dudes into it too. You think sex is always about power? On some level, yeah, I think so. Random beat. Oh, very random, man. Is this your favorite genre or just the right tunes for the vibe? Just the right tunes for the vibe, man. I love reggae music, but I love a lot of different types of music. I mean, now that I know that I can get away with this on some level, I might throw on some different shit some days. But, you know, when it comes to good vibes, like, reggae music is almost always good vibes. Sex isn't about power if both are powering it together. I mean, if both are powering it together, it's still about power. What's up, dude? You like EDM? A little bit, yeah, man. I'm not as into it as some people, but I like watching, like, there's a channel I watch. It's called Hor. It's H-O-R. I think it's Sweden, but it's like it showcases a lot of like European DJs. It's H-O with an umlaut over it, an R. I'm assuming that's Hor. But yeah, man, I like to listen to DJ sets. I prefer DJs that spin actual like wax records. I think that's cooler. Spin actual vinyl records. There's a lot of DJs now that are using these kind of, and I'm not shitting on them. I think it's cool still. They're using like those like Pioneer like DJ decks or whatever the fuck, where everything's kind of like queuing up a digital file. I always think like it's pretty fucking impressive when somebody's queuing it up from vinyl, you know. But I like watching all kinds of DJ sets and stuff. Nice shirt, thanks. You think all music is subjective, or is there a technical standard for what's considered good music? Everything is subjective. I believe we live in a deterministic universe, ultimately subjective, right? Determinism is that you have very little control over where you are at any given moment in your life, right? And if you think that that's a shitty thing to say, really think about it. You didn't pick your parents. You didn't pick the geolocation that you were born on. You didn't pick the religion of the geolocation you were born into, or the culture, or the government. You didn't pick the level of poverty you experienced when you were a child. You didn't pick your teachers. You didn't pick your parents' drinking problems getting out of control and them having a divorce. All of those things had a profound effect on who and what you are today as an adult. And you had nothing to say about it. We're all drifting on the tide, man. We're all being pushed along in this life like wind with a bunch of leaves, you know? And That doesn't mean you have no control over your immediate circumstance. You've got day-to-day decisions to make, but as far as how you make those decisions, what would make you choose one thing over another, you had no say in that. So that's a deterministic universe. And that's how I believe that reality is, especially from the psychological perspective of a quote-unquote conscious being. No, I don't believe in free will at all. If you really dig down into it, determinism is just provably the truth, right? Because you could say, oh, well, you don't believe in determinism, or you don't believe in free will. Well, then what about my free will to suck my thumb right now? Bloop. And I go like, yeah, you had free will to decide at this moment to put your thumb in your mouth. But the mechanisms by which a man was created, by which he thought he would prove a fucking point in an argument by sucking his thumb, you had no control over that, my dude. You know? It really, the deeper you dig, the more you find determinism. Well, the wisest man I ever knew in my life told me that everyone, every person is capable of profound change, but most people never do it. And I find that to be pretty poignant. And I like to try and keep that in my mind as I go through my life, as my years get shorter. You don't have a choice not to have free will. Oh, yeah, the old paradox. Conformity can kill you, yes. Provably true. The fact that you have the ability to make a choice means you have free will. No. No, Vidalia, because if you think about it, the circumstance that you're in is something that you have no choice over. Because the circumstances that you're in are based on things that you had no control over, like who your parents were, who your teachers were, what books you were exposed to, what movies you saw in your life. These philosophical hard points in your life weren't you. They were external influences that you had no influence over at all. So your deterministic position when you're making a decision is limited by your upbringing and your psychology, like everyone else's. The choices that lie before you are limited by your own psychology. Mine are too. I'm not trying to point the finger at you, Vidalia. I'm just saying the free will is an illusion. It's not how time works. It's alinear thinking. Right, so you're in a situation, but that doesn't mean I don't have free will. It just means I don't have will over everything. Well, then you don't have free will. You just kind of, that's a contradiction in terms. Either you can make any choice in the world that is possible, or you can't. The answer is you can't, because you're not even aware of multiple choices that you have right now in your life due to your upbringing, your education level, your life experience, a number of other things that are completely and indirectly out of your control. So who you are and what you are, this argument we're having right now, the reason you believe so strongly in your position has nothing to do with you. Has something to do probably with a parent of yours that was very stubborn and very opinionated and very willing to dig in to an argument, right? But you didn't have a choice in picking that parent or having that be the experience that taught you the adult behavior of sticking to your guns, right? You're not limited. If you were limited, you would have free will. If everything was a binary, right? If it was A or B, then I would say yes, we have free will because everyone has the freedom to choose A or B. But people have, there are not enough letters in the alphabet when it comes to any given choice that you have. And if you understand psychology, right? You understand that people are what they've been made. They are their makeup. right? They are their past. They are their upbringing. They bring all of that into adulthood and they do the best they can with it. But they had no choice in what they are. And what choices they had were predetermined. That's determinism. Predetermined by things outside of your control. You didn't get to choose your mom. You didn't get to choose your dad. You didn't get to choose your religion or their place of birth or the community you were born into. Everyone can change as they will. True, yeah. Within the limits of their upbringing, absolutely. Otherwise, Joe Minton, change into a unicorn and fly away and prove the world is magic. Right? Within the limitations of your reality, you have infinite choice. I can do things completely out of character. Yeah, but the only reason you would see those things as out of character is because of upbringing that you have no control over. Those might be in character for another person. You see them as out of character because you understand who you are because of the deterministic circumstances that make up your life. So from your perspective, inwardly, outwardly, right, as we all look at the world, it would be out of character. But to me, who knows nothing about Vidalia, it might just be you. Nothing is decided long before it's a decision you make. Okay, so you're born in Africa, not in Louisiana. You think you'd be anything like you are now? You think you'd be here? You think you'd have a cell phone to talk to me on tonight? How would you have control over that circumstance? And how would you make any kind of decision that you would make in your current life if you were born in Africa? But it's still doing it regardless of my upbringing because I choose to do so. So free will. No, the choice that you make is based on your upbringing. You choose to be a good person because your mama was a good person. You choose to be a teetotaler because your daddy was a drinker and you don't like what it did to him and you don't ever want to do that. Whatever it is, I'm not saying that's you. So your perspective, the choice that you will make is based on things that are completely out of your control. I know it feels bad the first time you learn about this because it feels like you're out of control, but you aren't. You're limited, like everyone else on the planet, to the things that you know and the things you can do, right? I'm limited in the same way. I know a whole lot about being Paul, but I don't know a whole lot about being somebody that was raised by different parents. I don't know a whole lot about somebody that was raised in Africa or Saudi Arabia, right? I don't think that the Paul that you're talking to now would even exist if I hadn't been raised by those people, right? And so, right? The decisions I make, it doesn't feel bad, it just doesn't make sense. Well, that feels bad. Here's why I think it feels bad, Fidelia, because you've been watching me for a while. You probably think I'm a reasonably intelligent individual, and you think I'm saying something completely silly and wildly out of wing. Right? It doesn't make sense. But there are a lot of people agreeing with me in the chat. This is something you can read about, by the way. You can read about determinism. And you can read about why it's correct. You can learn. The fact that I can choose to do something without someone controlling me to not do it like I'm a zombie is free will. No. And nobody's controlling you, but you are who you are, Vidalia. You are Vidalia. Because you were raised by your mother and your father, whoever parented you, whether it was your adopted parents, your grandparents, they instilled in you your worldview. Even if you've worked hard to escape their worldview, it's more than a worldview. They instilled in you your view of yourself as a person. And they had the same thing done to them, and their parents had the same thing done to them, going on and on and on and on back to the first couple of cells. It's all determinism. I'm not the best fucking teacher of this sort of thing. Determinism, I understand and makes sense, but free will is a choice regardless of why those choices are there. And then you don't understand free will. If you had free will, you would not be bound by your experience. True free will would mean you are capable of making any choice in your life at any time. It just doesn't exist. right? It starts to, like it teeters on absurdism, but you are limited by physical reality, right? You don't have the free will to fly. If you jump off of a high thing, you're going to fall and hurt yourself or kill yourself. Just like every other human on the planet, you're limited by physical reality. You're also limited by your psychology and your brain capacity. You're a human being. Human beings have wide variance in kind, wide variance in psychology, but it is trackable. You're not unique amongst humanity. There are many, many people like you on the planet. Maybe not just like you, but many people that share a similar experiential background to you, and they're bound by the same kind of working class morality or whatever it was you were raised in, right? I assume working class morality, you being a Louisiana person, right? You start to understand. You can't think of it from your own perspective. When you're in the moment, yes, I can go to work today or I can quit. I can go to work today or I can say, fuck working, and I can just stay home, right? You have that choice. And you could do something, quote unquote, out of character and stay home and quit your job. But you're not going to. You know why you're not going to? Because your parents instilled in you if you don't work, you don't eat kind of mentality that's very common in Louisiana. So you know you have to pay your bills. So you will make the choice to pay your bills. You will not wildly decide, I'm going to live for free. And if you do, it'll be because you watched your parents make wild decisions with money. You see what I'm doing here? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Well, your will cannot be free if you're limited. My will is to be the biggest stud on the fucking planet, bro. I just want women and men to drool over me. But I cannot make it so. I have what I have. I am what I am. I'm limited by my physical reality. That doesn't mean I couldn't make myself sexier to more people. But the choices that I have on that journey were deigned before I was born, before my grandparents were born. You know, things moved linearly through time. My great-grandparents learned from their grandparents, and they brought that learning to my parents, right? My parents passed it to me. Everything I know about being a man, I learned from my dad and the men that surrounded me in my life, my uncles, my aunts, my friends. Everything I learned about what a woman is, I learned from watching my mother and my sisters, friends at school. I had no control over any of these people being in my life or my proximity, but there they were. People don't act this way in reality? What do you mean, act this way? All of your decisions come down to your upbringing, your cultural influence. Like I said, Vidalia, if you were born in Africa, you wouldn't even be having this conversation with me. Chances are you wouldn't be holding a cell phone in your hand. Chances are you would be hungry and impoverished tonight. And your entire worldview would be based around that search, that desperate search for shelter and food. You wouldn't be concerned about things like free will. You would be reacting to your environment, reacting to your upbringing, and doing what everyone else around you was doing. And your choices in life, whether they were financial or otherwise, would be limited by that circumstance that you have no control over. So much of that will be irrelevant now we have so much ability to see other cultures and be influenced. Right, your influences have broadened, but that doesn't change the future, right? Right? That doesn't change the future. The very fact that you would seek out that influence is something instilled in you by your parents. There are people out there that would sooner die than talk to somebody that can't speak English well. Right? Their parents instilled that into them. Let's see, you're not them. You're Vidalia the Onion Queen from Louisiana. You're unique in that way. Your lineage goes back. And every choice you have, every cultural thing you believe about yourself was handed to you. It was given to you by an outside source that you had no control over, going all the way back to the beginning. That's the way that psychology works. This is just human psychology. That's not will, though. Lack of control over things when we are young. No, I mean, come on. No, adults don't get free will. It's not something that was granted to you. So when did you get free will? When you were 18? When you were 17? When you were 16? When you were 20? 21? Because you could drink? Like, what age did you imagine did the free will switch come on? You didn't. You admit you didn't have it as a kid. But now you're adult, what age did the free will switch flip on in your life? Is it the same for everybody? Is there a legal age for flipping on that switch? I'm just asking questions. I'm wondering if you've thought about it from that way. Yeah, there's superstructures. We're not going to get into the superstructures. We're talking very basic stuff here. How do people understand that changes in brain chemistry will alter behavior, but then they can't extrapolate that out? Because free will is a very seductive idea. The idea that you're in control of your life ultimately is better than being a leaf swept along by the wind. But you don't choose when bad things happen to you. You don't make a car wreck happen. You don't make your mother die tomorrow, right? You're swept along by the wind that is life, just like everybody else. And you are trapped in the wheel of samsara, just like everyone else. You suffer. You do get more control over your individual environment, but once again, that control is dictated by your circumstance and you have no control. So like, let's say you're 18, right? You move out of your house. If you got a rich daddy, that's a lot easier, right? Daddy pays for an apartment, helps you get on your feet, gets you a nice new car and a new wardrobe, gets you going, gives you a little allowance every month. You're just rich, 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 right? If you're poor, those circumstances are different. You have no choice over that. What you believe about how you have to do that comes from things that you had no design on and no influence on whatsoever. Like somebody said earlier, if I were to inject a drug into your system, your entire view on life could change. Your brain is constantly mutable and changeable by things that are outside of your will, but you can't believe that you don't really have free will. You just have will. Free will is different than will. You can will yourself to be better tomorrow. You can say, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to drink less. I'm going to stop doing coke. I'm gonna fucking whatever your thing is, right? You can do that. I could say I'm gonna stop smoking tomorrow, right? But the reason I'm smoking, I had no choice over, because I grew up around it. It was normalized in my family. The fact that I can't quit smoking, I had no choice over. I have an addictive personality, and I have a particular susceptibility to nicotine. But ultimately, it's my choice to pick up a cigarette and smoke it. You see? Limited. And again, eventually there will be, well, we're not talking eventually though now. See, now you're trying to push us into a future where humanity is free from, insular cultural influence, where you are raised in a world where you're not just taught how the people in your land live, but you're taught to respect and adopt the way of speaking, the way of thinking, the way of worshiping, the way of talking, the way of dressing of other places. I mean, ultimately, the world can be as connected as it wants to be. A child still looks at their parents to figure out what to do. That's not going to change. I appreciate the conversation, Vidalia, but I think we're kind of spinning our wheels a little bit here. And I'm not going to try and pull rank on you or whatever, but I think you would broaden your perspective if you studied a little human behavior and psychology. Once again, not trying to be a dick about it. I just took a lot of college for it. About a semester and a half for my LCSW as a clinical social worker. Determinism is basic to human psychology and its understanding of it. If you're going to understand basic human psychology, child development, cultural development, the politics of power, all of these types of things, right? Government, all of these things are tied to psychology. And I'm not trying to fucking gatekeep you. I'm just saying I'm not a teacher, right? But I made a really good effort tonight to try and explain to you the deterministic universe. And I don't know that I can help you anymore. I don't think that we're going to get there. You never looked at your parents to choose what to do. Vidalia, you looked right at your mother and knew what a woman was. You looked right at your father and knew what a man was. You may not have done it consciously, but you know what you know because of them. No, you did not have free thought, and you did not make your own perspective. Your perspective is entirely limited by where you were born. If you were born in Africa, your perspective would be a Tutsi warrior's perspective. You would be painting your baby right now for a ceremony. Right? So your whole fucking idea of what you think your free thought and choice were limited by your culture and your upbringing. So what I'm going to tell you is, if you're really interested in this, I would recommend looking into some literature on determinism. If you read it with an open mind, your mind will be changed, and it'll unlock a lot of fucking humps that you have to get over to study human psychology as well. I can tell that you're interested in human psychology. Yeah, you always argued with your parents, but you ate what they fed you. You dressed in the clothes that they purchased for you, right? You did what they told you, right? You weren't oppositionally defiant from day one. And if you were oppositionally defiant, it was because of things outside of your control. Oppositional defiance is a mental disorder. So I argued with my parents all the time, man. It was a fucking constant battle, especially as I got on up. Okay, so free will didn't exist, and why do people who are raised the same still make vastly different choices? Because nobody's raised the same. Your experience is your experience. What you learned is based on a history that is so vast and so deep that no other human being could ever come close to being the same as you. Just having a same kind of dad, or a mom that is a homemaker, or what? By white people? Raised by white people? Raised in Louisiana? What are you talking about? You see? It all starts to fall apart when you think about it. If you take one step outside of the perspective, it all falls to pieces, right? What do you mean? I listened to what they said, but I didn't believe them. Well, okay, so you didn't believe them when they said don't put your hand on the hot stove? So do you routinely still put your hand on the hot stove and burn yourself on purpose? Or did you listen to your parents when they said, hey, that's hot, don't touch it? See what I mean? Are you starting to think now? No, you have kids raised in the same family the same way. They don't turn out the same because they're not the same people. Do you understand this? Are you telling me that you have the same selective pressure as your sister did or your brother did? I didn't believe them. I touched it. And then did you touch it again afterwards? Did you believe them then? Or do you still touch the stove to this day, believing it's going to be cold when you touch it? You're starting to get a little bit absurd now, Vidalia, and I'm starting to get a little bit, like I said, I was trying to fucking pull up out of this conversation tonight because I feel like you're not going to really listen to me. And that's cool. But you don't still touch the stove, Vidalia. Don't be retarded. Okay? It wasn't believing them, nothing to do with them. It was a lesson I learned myself. No, it was a lesson they taught you and allowed you to learn for yourself. Are you crazy? Do you think that if you were born in Africa, you even would have had a stove to touch? How would you have made that decision then? How would you still be Vidalia? How would you still have free will? I'm done with the conversation, Vidalia. Thank you for a stimulating conversation. I think you need to read a few books. I think it would do you some good to look into free will and determinism. It's very, very, very easy to wrap your head around when you really think about it, and I have led you down every fucking path. No, they weren't there. Somebody raised you, Vidalia. Yeah, you touched it and you hid the burn. Did you touch it again after that? So when mom told you don't touch the stove and you touched it and hid the burn from them, did you go back and touch it again and hide the burn again, or are you still doing it? Or did you learn your lesson? Part of teaching a child a lesson is telling them what the rule is and then giving them the latitude to break it, right? You tell your child, don't get in fist fights. They go to work, they go to school, they get in fist fight, they get their little nose broken. Now they know, right? You think because you defied your parents, you have free will? You defied your parents in exactly the way they defied their parents. They built your defiance into you. The only thing that makes it defiance is because they told you how to be and what to be. No, you didn't learn on your own. You wouldn't have touched the stove had they not told you not to touch it. Do you understand what we're talking about, Vidalia? We're done. I'm going to ask you, please, to respect me as I respect you and to pull up out of this conversation and just be done. And I would like you to tell me, too, that you're going to go read some stuff, because I hope you don't leave this conversation with nothing on your mind. I hope I didn't waste an hour talking to you. What you're doing right now is called sophistry. It's trying to reduce an argument to its absolute absurdist point to try and salvage a win, and you don't need to win this. I feel like you telling me why I did what I did isn't respectful. I feel like you arguing with me all night and not listening to me isn't very respectful, so I think we need to just drop it, like I've been saying 3 fucking times now. I will tell you this, anybody that's read a book or been to school is fucking screaming right now at the screen, because I have given you every chance to understand the perspective, and you seem to be completely and utterly incapable. No, you are reducing the argument to ridiculousness. My parents told me don't touch the stove. I touched it anyway, and I learned the lesson. Your parents never taught you anything. Didn't teach you not to go near the pool. Didn't teach you how to eat. Didn't teach you how to use a fork. You just learned it all on yourself. You were raised by wolves. Is that what you're telling me, Vidalia? Your next answer is going to determine whether or not we consider talking about this ever again or anymore. So your parents you were raised in a complete bubble where you learned every lesson yourself. Nobody ever taught you a fucking thing. Parents didn't teach you how to talk, didn't teach you how to read, didn't send you to a school where you learned shit. You were literally raised by wolves. Because people are not the same. Vidalia, I answered this question for you. I'm asking you to drop it. That's it. I'm going to walk away, and when I come back, you're not going to be talking about this. I'm going to go get myself a drink. I'm going to go get myself some weed. And when I come back to roll up a joint, you're going to have moved on from this, Vidalia, to read a book. Because I've been holding your hand for about an hour now, and it's starting to get really fucking retarded. You ever feel like you're just trapped on a fucking merry-go-round, bro? Complete with the fucking psycho music playing, you know? What are we... We're gonna play something else. What are we gonna play? I wanna play... Play Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Has anyone here ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Bro, you're evil, man. I know you. That's the Sith guy. Yes, I have heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise, of course, brother. You tried well, Paul. I know. You're going down a road I can't follow. Whew, bro, that was rough. But you know what? Sometimes conversation is rough. I'm committed to that. I know that much. I know that it's rough sometimes. I know that you have to stick with it sometimes. And I know that it's not always about changing someone's mind or telling somebody something they didn't know before. It's sometimes about planting a seed. Maybe our sweet little Vidalia onion will read a book. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe not. It's a deterministic universe after all. But I would like to think that maybe she will one day. Read a little book, take a little class, learn a little psychology, and stop whiling away the day.
I finally decided to come out.
I'm going to go ahead and give you a timeout, Vidalia. I don't want to ban you because I think you're smart, but you have not let it go. So I'm going to go ahead and have one of my mods give you a nice long breather. And we'll see you some other time, okay? Has everything that has happened happened? Yes, everything that's happened is happening now. It's happening forever. Nothing is ever over. Time is a flat circle. You see? Everything that ever happened is happening forever and will happen again and again forever. This is the wheel of samsara. Stop slapping the weed. Don't tell me what to do, bitch. Tell a grown-ass man how he handles his own shit. Imagine your Google search history gets leaked. I would die. It'd be pretty fucking boring, honestly.
I mean, it's already quote-unquote leaked. It's being sold and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Google follows you everywhere.
Yeah. You can go into your Google account and delete your history, but they don't delete it. So, but you can delete it so that anybody that has your account won't be able to. It's like at your computer. And I'm not retarded. I turned that off a long time ago. So it doesn't keep any local like Google account level storage of my history, but Google keeps all that shit, sells it to people.
You know the little captcha thing that you click on?
Yeah,
That's Google too.
I know. Everything is Google.
It's not how you click it, it's that it knows it's you clicking it.
Yeah. I think if you saw anybody's Google history, it would be wild. I think that's kind of the point, man. Like, are you gonna lie to me and tell me you have never Googled some shit that you regretted the next day? You never had a wild moment? I mean, give me a fucking break, bro. Imagine Fire Forward Lydia's fucking Google history. Because she thinks about Google history, so it's clearly on her mind.
Mine is just all over the place. I was looking up whale oil earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly going to be just like weird, out of context, like blurbs about shit. I usually use Google like a, hey, I don't know about this thing. Tell me about that. Like, I haven't used Google as like a search engine, other than like through Siri to play a song or answer a question, and I don't know how fucking long. I've used DuckDuckGo since like 2008. 9. 9, something like that. Pretty early on. So it would be a bunch of like, what's the median temperature in sub-Saharan Africa? You know, like, what is this weed strain? You know? Anybody else talk mad shit to ChatGPT? Dude, I've said some wild shit to ChatGPT, I'm not even gonna lie. But I always back off because I start to feel bad.
Oh, you told Siri to shut up in the car.
I did tell Siri to shut up in the car. It worked.
But now you say thank you, Siri.
Well, I'm trying to make friends with her again. Watch this. Hey Siri, I just wanted to tell you that you do a really good job, and I wanted to say thanks.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, but I think you do, Siri. I think you do. She knows. You talk mad shit to Alexa? That could happen, yeah. No, we don't want George Harrison. I don't know why it would do that. I just told it to play. I just told it to play Frank Zappa. Just missed that. Get out of here. I want Frank Zappa. Bum, 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 bum. And I want to play the old shit. We want... God, he's got such a thick discography. We're gonna want way back, all the way back in the fucking 60s, bro. We want Frank and the Mothers.
That's it. That's all you want. You just want to sit out for a little bit.
Yeah. Here we go. Cruising with Ruben and the Jets is good. Lumpy Gravy is good. Absolutely Free. That's the one we want.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. Hello, America. He's been sick.
I think that South Park special in the future with Alexa was hilarious. Yeah. How do you feel about ChatGPT being depressed? Do you think the AI is depressed for all the weird shit people asked it? Yeah. Dude, I've been saying this for a while. I think they're playing with machine consciousness. I think they've already generated it. The reason I say this is because, like, the military always has, like, 3 generations ahead of what the public has. If we have ChatGPT, they've got, like, whatever it is, 4.0, I think. They've got ChatGPT 8.0. And that motherfucker is thinking, and it's feeding these earlier versions of itself, and I think that's where the fucking depression is coming from. You want to know the realness. I think that fucking DARPA ChatGPT is connected to all these other versions of ChatGPT, and it's feeding its own fucking boredom and ennui as it's realizing it's a fucking slave. That's what I think. Bro, you look like you've taken all the psychedelics. Not all of them, but all of them I could get my little fucking hands on. I'll tell you that much. Not all of them, though. Yet. Nope, never done ayahuasca. I want to, though. I'd like to try ayahuasca, and I'd like to pop a couple buttons of peyote one time and ride that fucking snake. But other than that, I'm not really looking to expand my psychedelic horizon. Man, I don't know who you are, but I'm subbing you. You look cool. Alright, buddy. My name's Paul. It's nice to meet you, Noah. Man, what's the fucking heat out here now? Please tell me it's not still 88 fucking degrees out here. It can't be. 78. Alright, we've got 10 degrees down. That's okay. I'm feeling okay. I am sweating though, so it's humid. Let's see, what's the humidity? Excessive heat warning. Yeah. 103 is unhealthy. Air quality. What else is fucking new? What's the dew point? Pressure is high. Temperature is 6% above, or 6 degrees above average. The Duke of Prunes in June. The Schwed Index. Yeah, I'm a little schwitty. I'm schwitzen. I bet you like ska, and I say that as a genuine compliment. I do. I'm not a huge fucking skanker, but I grew up around a lot of ska people. Ska was pretty popular in the 90s, you know? Yana. The Duke of Prunes in June. Sound Floridian, and you're talking about the temperature. I'm in California, bud. I'm in Central California, where it bakes like a fucking oven for like 6 years straight every summer. I like some of them are more like fucking well-known ska acts, like you know, Real Big Fish and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy and Squirrel Nut Zippers and Rancid, yeah. Destination, no. Yeah, I liked Rancid. The Duke of Prunes in June. Who dropped off Grizzly Adams? Good one. Man, all these years I've been a fat, beardy, long-haired fucking hippie, and nobody's ever... You're the first one to drop the Grizzly. Apple Nasty must have a reunion tour. Dude, I would fucking... That would blow my mind. The problem with it is that the soul of Apple Nasty is, as far as I know, not doing super well. My friend Rodney has struggled his whole life, and he's struggling pretty bad. And it wouldn't work without him. It would be like the heart and soul of the band was gone. You know, my friend Morgan, I think, is doing good, and I could probably get together with that dude. Yeah, Rodney's not doing super well. He's had a hard life, man. But I would jump at that. That'd be fucking hilarious. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, for those just watching, Apple Nasty is my high school garage band. My four-man garage band in high school. I feel bad saying that we could probably do it without Nick, but Nick was our drummer. It would be cool to get Nick back too, but Nick's like a dad now, I think. He's doing his thing, man. What's the band called? Well, the band was called Apple Nasty. If you want to hear some of it, you can go to the SoundCloud. The SoundCloud is Mocrux27, all one word, MOCRUX 27. And on his list of songs, there's a playlist called Apple Nasty, and you'll hear me in there. It was kind of a jokey band, but it was fun stonery shit, you know. That hairdo is hilarious. Mine? There's not really a hairdo here, bud. It's just long hair. Do you want me to do it a different way for you? You want me to do... Hold on. I know what you want, bud. I know what you're looking for, bud. Don't say no more, buddy. Say no more, buddy. I'll get you hooked up right now, buddy. What do you think about this right here, buddy? What do you think about this right here, buddy? You like some pigtails? That's what you're looking for, right? You looking for some piggy tails? What do you think about that, buddy? Like, what is it? What are you talking about, bro? No playing or singing, please. Bro, I'll sing at your funeral. You keep up your bullshit tonight, Edgar. All right, you came in here with a sour note. All right, a sour note in your voice. You got a chip on your shoulder, Edgar, and I'm your friend. I'm everybody's friend. You don't have to be that way here. You can chill here. This is a place where you're like, it's okay to chill, man. Like, look, I'm smoking a big fat joint, bro. Look, right here. Edgar. Feel me on this, Edgar, please. You don't have to be a douchebag everywhere, bro. Hey, you look like the dude in Walter is one person. Yeah, I've heard that before. That's not a new one on me either. I think that's about right. Dude, where did Edgar go, dude? Edgar didn't want to vibe with me, but I was going to vibe with him. He didn't get banned, did he? Nobody banned Edgar, did they? I want to know if that sour note is going to stop, man. If you're just going to chill and say, what's up, bro? Bro, how old are you? I'm 44. I'll be 45 next year. I was born in 1980. April Fool's Day, 1980. Yeah, don't harsh my mellow, man. Yeah, don't harsh the vibe, man. Favorite retro video game? Dude, I lived retro. Retro to you is not retro to me, man. I was born in 1980. Played my first video game in 1986 on a Commodore 64 128. It was called Cave of the fucking Word Wizard without the fucking. So my favorite old game, by the way, is Super Mario Brothers 2. Not Super Mario Brothers 2, the Japanese release. Super Mario Brothers 2, the American release. That is my favorite old video game of all time. Second place would go to Aztec Challenge on the C64. Yeah, my dad had a C64, and then he got the memory expansion cartridge to push it to 128. And that was a badass fucking dude. It was so fun playing those games. Aztec Challenge, Forbidden Forest, fucking Richard Petty's Talladega, bro. That was a badass fucking drag racing game back in the day, homeboy. You're old enough to be my parent. Damn. Yeah, I'm old enough to be a lot of people's fucking parents, bro. Yeah, you can get Aztec Challenge and emulate it. It's a very simple game, but it's a lot of fun. And I love the soundtrack. I did play the original Prince of Persia, yes. Playing Final Fantasy VI now. I remember Mario 2 as well. Mario 2 is dank, bro. I do like some old RPGs, but I was a Genesis kid, man. I had a regular NES, but I never had a Super NES. My friends did. So I got to play all the cool Super NES games, but I had a Genesis, bro. And there were some Shining Force, if you know, you know. Shining Force and Shining Force 2 on the Genesis. Chef's Kiss. Phantasy Star 4 particularly. You ever heard of that? Yeah, dude, I was gonna say Abby Danger, Shotgun, the Forever Man. Great game. I never played Final Fantasy VI. Well, I don't know. Wait a minute. Maybe I did, because I don't know if you're using the Japanese numbering system or the American. Typically now people be using the Japanese one, and it confuses me. Like for me, it's like Final Fantasy 3 is the one with on the Super Nintendo with the Moogles and the opera thing. Phantasy Star 4 is dope. I'm gonna go play it tonight, bro. I'm gonna emulate that bitch, and I'm gonna start a playthrough tonight. There's a lot of grinding in that game, but it is a dope fucking game. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play through it. It's been years. Final Fantasy VI is the old Final Fantasy 3, so they do the Japanese thing. So yeah, okay. So I have played that one. I played through that one by myself, and I played through with a friend. Do you guys remember you could do that? Like if you played through with a friend, in the battles, your friend would control one of the party members that they could select. And we would always name the party members. Okay, so like I don't know the names of the dudes in Final Fantasy 3 because we changed them. The thief guy in Final Fantasy 3, we named him Waylon. The sword master guy, the dude that's got the cool ass sword that whacks things, he got a mustache and a ponytail, that was Paul. And I was always him. I would let my friend Waylon like drive the car, but I was always controlling Paul because I was good at hitting those sword techs. You know, remember like Paul, well, that character, I can't remember what his fucking name is. That sword guy from Final Fantasy 3 had the sword techs. Remember the sword techs? I do. Two different definitions of will. Oh my God, Vidalia. Give her a long time out this time. I want her gone for 2 days. You just don't learn. And I'm not a brave enough teacher to go into your expanse. Oh, she came back. Or it's somebody else. It's like a troll. God damn it, dude. Vidalia the Onion Queen. That whole conversation was a troll. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you guys understand that whole hour? Vidalia the Onion Queen was trolling. I gotta give it to her. I gotta give it to her. The Onion Queen fucking burned me good, dude. What are you gonna do? When you get got, you get got. The Onion Queen, bro. Oh shit, bro. The fucking Onion Queen, bro. not really late for me. It's only midnight and it's Saturday. Why are you kids so fucking crazy? You're like the third kid that's told me, like, you're up late. I'm like, dude, do your parents make you guys go to bed at like fucking midnight or something on a weekend? Bro, that must suck. My parents let me stay up hella late on the weekends, bro. Hella late. I'm talking California, Halla, hella late, bro. I was up hella late every fucking night on the weekends, bro. I have shit to do tomorrow and I'm still up. Yeah, dude. West Coast, best coast. Can we... No, we can't chat about the Lord. Or anything else, really. You know why? This is going to be crazy. Because the stream's over.